You have reached the Geek Elite. Good luck.
What's going on? My name's Ian. You may recognize me from such voices as Ian on Journey into Mystery. And I'm here with my wife, Ericka.
Hello.
And we are currently on a road trip. So please mind the road noises that you may or may not hear. But yeah, welcome to Road Trip Ramble, where we're just going to kind of talk about things that we've watched recently and just go through it. I think the topic for today is the Mighty Ducks franchise.
Yes. So, I've watched the 3 Mighty Ducks movies and the first episode of the new TV show recently. And watching it as an adult is extremely different from how I remember as a child.
How so?
So, well, there's a lot of adult humor that you just don't pick up as a kid, or just like little things like that in general. So you want to just start with the first movie and just talk about that and work our way through it? You want to just kind of...
Yeah, let's start with the first movie and we'll kind of work our way through. Full disclosure, I haven't watched the movies in a very long time, and we haven't seen the second episode of the new show that just came out today. We're doing this on the Friday that the new episode was supposed to come out, so keep that in mind. Also, spoilers if you haven't seen any of them, and welcome if you've never been a part of the Mighty Ducks franchise before. So, the first one, give us the rundown.
So, you give me a synopsis?
Yeah, just hit us with a real high overview.
Alright, so basically, the first Mighty Ducks is about Gordon Bombay. He's a lawyer in Minneapolis, and he's kind of the worst. He's an alcoholic, he's mean, he's the worst kind of lawyer, gets all these bad people off, and one day he decides to drive drunk, and he gets pulled over and arrested, and his boss decides, hey, I don't like where you're headed, so I'm gonna make you do community service. I'm gonna, cut you a break, and instead of, you going to prison or going through a trial and all that, I'm just gonna say, you do community service, you do your time, you're gonna still be paid, which I think is ridiculous. We can talk about it in a second. How easy he got off. And I believe he had to do 500 hours of community service, and part of that included coaching a Pee Wee hockey team from District 5. And these guys are terrible. They're the worst hockey players. But they're kids and they're having fun, so it's whatever. And it's about just the journey of Gordon getting to know these kids and just growing as a person and teaching them things, and they end up, spoilers, doing really well in their season and winning it all. And in the background there's his feud with his former hockey coach, who was kind of an asshole, but yeah, that's the gist of it.
Okay. So, you would say that you think Gordon got off a little easy. I would agree.
Yeah.
I always remember thinking that, even as a kid, being like, really? He's doing this bullshit? And he just gets kind of a slap on the wrist, and he's like, all right, you're a danger to yourself and those around you. Go teach those kids how to play hockey.
And you're still getting paid.
Yeah.
So, that's the part that I didn't really notice as a kid, but watching it again as an adult, I was like, wait a minute. He's getting paid his normal lawyer salary. So he's making bank.
Yeah.
And he's doing community service. Like, yeah, he did some, like, really shitty things, and he should not have been driving drunk, and, you know, he kind of had it coming, like, he had to, like, face all those consequences. But the fact that part of that was that he still got paid was like, what the hell? Like, talk about privilege.
Right. I would also like to throw out there that I am a big fan of Emilio Estevez. And I hate to say it, I didn't know where he went after the Mighty Ducks franchise. So in my head, I knew he didn't, but in my head he died.
What?
So I don't know why I thought that. So I'm very sorry about that, Emilio Estevez. I know you're not dead. Thank you for not being dead. But anyway, let's talk about like the kids on the team.
All right, so I want to start off with my boy Charlie.
Charlie.
So when I was younger, I was so in love with him.
I mean, he's cute.
He's cute, and the movie came out in '92, I believe. So by the time I actually got around to watching it, I was, you know, a little older, like maybe like 5 or 6, and I was so in love with him. Like, Joshua Jackson is a cutie.
And he still is to this day.
Mm-hmm.
He grew up very nicely.
And let's see, we also have Averman.
Yes.
Kid with the glasses.
Kid with the glasses. He was throughout, because I don't remember the third one too terribly well, but through the first 2, he's one of my favorite characters. He's a very well-written comic relief character.
Yeah.
Where he's just kind of there. He's good enough to be on the team, but he's not the best player by any means.
No.
And he's a little obnoxious, but like not in a Jar Jar Binks kind of way. Like we've all had that friend.
Yeah. It was like, you know, his role in the group is to be the funny guy.
Yeah.
That's his role.
Uh-huh. In the first one, we get the plot twist that is Adam Banks getting reassigned from his fancy District whatever team, like District 1 team or something like that.
But the Hawks.
The Hawks, like from the rivals. And his quest to fit in and be accepted and to be a part of the team. Because if I remember right, when he joined the team, he was down. Yeah, he just wants to play hockey.
Yeah, like his dad was like, my son would rather not play hockey at all than play for your team. And he's like, whoa, no, I want to play hockey. Like, I don't care what team. And, like, so you can tell he's a good kid. Like, he's just in it just for fun.
Yeah, and I think it does a pretty good job of talking about, like just income disparity. Like, just looking between Adam, who's a kid from a wealthy family. He has good gear. He has, like, the means to be able to practice a lot and to be good at this sport. And you look at the rest of the Ducks, and they're all from middle to lower middle class families.
Like, when you see their first hockey game, they're wearing, like, football helmets, bike helmets, just, like, really, like, random gear. Like, none of them match. They don't even really have, like, good padding.
No, I think one of them is wearing phone books.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And which brings me to another point I want to make. So Gordon goes to his boss, Mr. Dugsworth, and to basically ask him to sponsor the team. And you can fact check me on this, but I want to say the amount that he asks for is like $15,000 or something.
Sounds about right.
For gear and stuff. And then when you see the scene where all the kids are getting all their gear, so how many of them? There are like maybe 10?
There's like 10 or 11.
It comes out to like the cash register says $7,000. I'm like, shit, like, how expensive is hockey gear?
Very.
Like, I don't know anything about hockey, but that's a lot of money. And then, of course, the rest of it is used for like rink time and stuff. But like, Dang, that's expensive for Pee Wee hockey.
Right. Like, I had some friends growing up that were into hockey, and where I grew up down in Yuma, obviously it's the middle of the desert. We don't have an ice league. It's all like
street hockey.
Pretty much like it's inline hockey.
Okay.
Right. Like we have a pretty nice, if it's still there, a pretty nice like rink and everything like that where they would play, and just the amount of time and money that goes into hockey, it's like, holy crap, that's a significant amount. So I'm actually really impressed that he was able to outfit an entire team for $7,000.
Yeah. And like throughout the movies, like you realize just like how big of a sport hockey is, especially like in the Midwest over there. But yeah, is there anything else you want to talk about in the first movie?
I want to talk about, can't remember his first name. Is it Fulton?
Fulton Reed?
Fulton Reed. There it is. His first name is Fulton. Mm-hmm. I'm an idiot. No, because this kid went on to have quite the career outside of the Mighty Ducks. Most recently, from what I remember, is Foggy from the Netflix Daredevil. He's the friend and partner to Daredevil Matt Murdock at the law firm that they start. But that's just like one thing that he's done in his entire career that he's had.
He was also Pollux in Mockingjay.
Yes.
He was in, I want to say it was like Grey's Anatomy or something. Well, I mean, everyone's in Grey's Anatomy.
Right.
He's also in, was it a Freddie Prinze Jr. movie? She's All That?
Yes.
He was the best friend of, what's her face, the girl? So, I mean, he, like, other than, like, Joshua Jackson, he's had one of the better careers out of, like, the cast.
And he's even, like, one of the cooler characters in the movie, because he's just this big understood kid, like, misunderstood, I should say. Big misunderstood kid who's really not mean.
He's just intimidating.
Yeah, but, like, nobody wants to take the chance to, like, talk to him. And wasn't it a thing that, like, he wasn't allowed to play any sport that's not, like, football or something like that?
That's the rumors that people made up about him.
Okay.
So, that's what they said, that he wasn't allowed to play hockey because they didn't want him to get hurt because he was on these football scholarships. And then when Gordon Bombay approached him about it, he was like, well, no one told me anything. And he's like, the only reason I don't play hockey is because I don't know how to skate.
And then they teach him.
Yeah, and then he's fine.
And then he's, like, the best enforcer that anybody could ever ask for, because they're supposed to be, what, like 12, 13? And he's, like, 6 feet tall?
That's another thing. I didn't know what age they were when I was first watching the movies. But we'll come back to this when we talk about the third movie.
The third one.
But in this, in the first movie, apparently they're supposed to be, like, 12 years old?
Yeah, like, well, I would say from, like, 11 to 13.
Yeah.
Is the age group.
Like, I always assumed, like, you know, around that age, but I thought there was a bigger time gap between the movies. Again, we'll talk about that in a second. But, yeah, they're really young. Yeah,
I think that just, like, in the gap between the movies, the actors themselves grew up a lot.
Yeah, I think that's what confused me. Because in the movies, so it takes place 1 year, and then the hockey season finishes. The second movie takes place the next hockey season, so it's been a year. And then the third movie takes place 1 year after that.
When they go to high school.
Yeah.
But I think this is a good place to jump into talking about the second one. The second one.
Obviously, the best one of the three.
Absolutely. Gordon Bombay gets approached by Hendricks Hockey to be the coach of Team USA at the Junior Goodwill Games because they can't say Olympics. But we can because, like, we can. It's the Junior Goodwill Games. They're going to play hockey. But Gordon doesn't have enough members of the Ducks returning to field a full team. So Hendricks Hockey gets involved, and they provide new players. So that's how we get the new members of the cast. I love the new people. We'll talk about the new people in a second. Hijinks ensue. Gordon has a failed run at a professional hockey career because of an injury. And the main antagonist of the movie is somebody who is an ex-pro who's an actual shitbag of a player. They called him the dentist because he's just an awful person.
And takes out your teeth.
Right. But it turns out, like, towards the end, that Team Iceland, they're not bad guys. They're just kids playing the game. They had, like...
Good kids with a shitty coach.
Yeah, like, the whole adage of, like, there's no such thing as a bad student.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if the person teaching you how to play the game is teaching you how to play a shitty version of the game, you're going to play shitty hockey. But, like, they just played physical hockey. I'm not blaming anything on the kids. Anyway, talking about the movie itself, the time gap, like we were talking about, messes me up because these kids come back and they're so much older.
Yeah, I always assumed it was, like, maybe...
2 years?
2 years?
Yeah.
Because, like, I was like, okay, well, Gordon left at the end of the first movie to go pursue a professional hockey career. And I was like, you know, he probably did that, like, 2 years or so, and then comes back after his injury. I was like, yeah, I'll connect with my old team. But no, it's only been 1 year.
Yep. And he gets a job working with, I always get them confused, back at the ice sports center, like the hockey store. What's his name? Is it Jan?
So, Hans is one in the first movie.
Okay.
His brother, Jan, is in the second one.
Okay.
And the story behind that is like, oh, Hans went and to go take care of our mother. So I'm taking care of the store.
That makes sense.
And then Hans comes back in the third one.
That makes sense. I always get them confused.
So, legitimately, when I was younger, I thought it was the same dude.
I did too.
Because like Hans and Jan, I'd never put that connection together. I was like, oh, it's the same dude, whatever.
I mean, whatever, it's hockey guy.
Yeah. Old hockey guy.
It's old, like, mentor guy.
Yeah.
But, he's another one of my favorite characters in the movie, like, in the franchise.
Hans or Jan?
Both.
Yes.
They fill the same role. Just because he's so patient and so, like, soft-spoken, but he's like his wisdom and the guidance that he gives Gordon at all times forever is so just needed, but not heavy-handed.
Right.
Or it's just so like, look, I know you're confused, but like, don't be dumb. It's great.
It's like in the first one and in the second one, it's like, you know, like whenever Gordon's losing his way, just give him some skates and tell him to go skate at sunset and everything will be good.
Right. Like that happened that's the same sequence could be played in both films at the same spot.
Yeah, exactly.
But Gordon got a job. Like he gets home, he's nursing his injury, he gets a job at the skate shop. But it turns out that Charlie has a job there.
Which is another reason why I was confused about between Hans and Jan. I was like, I just assumed that since Charlie knew him that it was still Hans.
Yeah, I mean, he probably got a job while Hans was still there.
Yeah.
And, you know, sharpening skates is a good skill to know.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, why not? Like, it makes sense. And, then, like I said, Gordon got approached by
Don
Tibbles, a representative of Hendrix Hockey, to be the coach, and that leads to one of I've watched words are hard. I have watched D2 so many times. So many. The opening sequence where they have to skate around and get everybody. I think about that sequence maybe twice a week.
What about it?
No, just the whole thing. It's so cool. Like
when they're introducing all the new players?
No, when Charlie has to go round up the ducks.
Oh, the duck call?
Yeah. How rad is that? Like, your old coach, who is such a big impact on your life, comes around and he's like, yo, we're getting the team back together. Run, little bunny. There's a bunny on the side of the road. I did not want to hit it. But he's like, yo, you want to do it again? And gives you the duck call. You know what that duck call means. Like, it's quite literally, we're getting the band back together. And you skate around, you're going to get in all of your friends.
Speaking of that sequence, that's another reason why I was confused about their ages, because Averman is working at a movie theater. You have to be 16 to have a job. So I assumed he was 16.
I mean, it was the 90s?
What?
I don't know when, I don't know if the, age to get a job changed.
Well,
Because it was...
I think it was still 16 because my mom has a story about trying to get a job at McDonald's at 14 and then eventually left because they asked for paperwork proving her age. And she's like, oh, sorry, bye.
I lied about it. Bye.
So I'm pretty sure it was still 16.
Okay. Maybe it's one of those things where it's like you can have a job with parental consent.
Maybe. But again, that's another reason why I was confused about their ages.
Yeah, and it's like an after-school gig where you're working like maybe 4 or 5 hours a week.
Yeah. But yes, that's a really good scene, and it's like warms my heart to see all the ducks get back together.
Yes.
I mean, there's some missing, obviously. I don't remember his name, but the short dude with the leather jacket.
He's not there.
He's not there. Carp isn't there. Is it David Carp?
Something like that. Carp, the kid in the first one who got hit in the head with a puck.
Yeah, who later appears in Heavyweights.
Yes. Also with Goldberg. It's Goldberg in that movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Carp and Goldberg end up in Heavyweights alongside Kenan Thompson, who's also in D2.
Yep, there's a lot of overlap between movies like that.
It's Disney, it's like 90s Disney kid actors.
Yeah. And then from the first movie, the figure skating brother and sister, they're not there anymore.
No, but they get replaced by Kenny Wu.
Woo, 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 Kenny
Woo! But I mean, now is as good a time as ever to talk about the new players.
So you have Julie the Cat Gaffney, which I love to point out that if you see in my other favorite movie, Rookie of the Year, she is, I think her name's Becky in that movie, like Henry Roland Gardner's love interest. So I thought that was cool.
I think that's really cool. Luis Mendoza from Miami.
Mm-hmm.
He's really fast, but he can't stop.
And he's Betty the Jet Rodriguez from The Sandlot.
Yes, and who's the other one from The Sandlot that's in this movie? I thought there were two.
Is there?
Oh, yeah, it's Jesse.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so Jesse, returning from the first movie, he's arguably the best player aside from Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, Charlie's good, but Charlie really just plays with heart. Let's be real.
He's the heart of the team.
Right. But, like, Adam and Jesse are, like, the 1 and 2 of the team. So, Jesse is back, and now we have 2 members of the Sandlot playing hockey.
Oh, and that also reminds me that, because it's Jesse and Terry Hall.
Yes.
From the first movie.
But Terry's not back.
Terry's not back.
Yeah. Terry probably got a new interest.
Probably.
Like, whatever.
And then I think the last... Oh, so you have
There's 2 more. You have the kid from Texas.
Yes. I cannot remember his name right now.
Nope, I can't, but it's... they made the joke when they met him. Haha, look, it's Hopalong Gretzky.
Yeah. So it'll probably come to me in a little bit.
Right.
And then, again, I cannot remember the name, but the other Bash brother.
Yeah. He shows up, and right off the bat, he's set up to be, like, a douchebag. Mm-hmm. But I don't think he is. I think he's the same kind of thing as Fulton, where, like, nobody's really taking the time to, like, get to know him.
And again, another reason why I was confused about their ages. That kid is not, like, 13 or 14.
No, I think in this one, because they're going to the Olympics, I think the age the age range is a little bit bigger.
And it's true, because in the third one, he's not at school with them.
Yeah, so I think he's, like, maybe 16.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right? But even Gordon has the line when he comes in, he's like, whoa, this kid's a teenager?
Yeah.
So even Gordon's in on the, like, well, hold up, now, what's the timeline here?
How old are these kids?
Right. But yeah, they get together, they are struggling to be a team. Gordon Bombay puts on the whistle and coaches them through it, and they become a well-oiled winning machine.
And, like, the entire time you're watching the movie, because it's not the Olympics, I can't say the Olympics, but, like...
The Junior Goodwill Games.
You just feel, like, so patriotic.
Right.
Team USA is, like...
Go all the way.
Yeah. And, it's just such a good movie. Like, there's so many, like, good, like, one-liners. There's, like, all these scenes that you just, like... makes you feel things, and it's like you care about these characters, and like normally sequels bomb, but I honestly feel like D2 is the best one of the 3.
D2 is the heart and soul of this franchise. If you're gonna go watch them, if you've never seen them, honestly, if you just watch D2, you're okay.
Yeah, like, you're gonna miss a little bit about, like, their characters from the first one, but honestly, like...
You're not missing a terrible amount that's not kind of recapped.
Right.
There might be a couple in-jokes that you miss, like Jesse calling Adam a cake eater, or the dudes that get pantsed at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, that's a little, like, what? But whatever. I think we should just go ahead and skip ahead. Team USA plays really well, but then they come up against Team Iceland, and Team Iceland, like I was saying, they're coached by... Right. They're coached by Stanton the Dentist Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
And...
It's a badass name.
It's a great name. But they play very physical hockey, and that's not the kind of hockey that Team USA plays. Team USA plays very, like, smart, technical hockey.
Yeah.
They're very good at moving the puck around, all this kind of stuff. So all they have to do is just man up on them, put them in the boards, and Team USA can't keep up. That gives us to the iconic 12-2-1 line. Hendricks isn't interested in losers, but Gordon.
Which upset me, because up until this point they have won every single game, like by
Handily.
a lot. Yeah, and they lose one game to the best team that's there, and then Don Tibbles is just like, like, if you're gonna lose, like, we don't want you, so screw you.
So figure it out. And honestly, I'm gonna be on the flip side of that. I can understand it from a sponsor's side, because they just put up all this money for new gear, new everything, taking the bet that Team USA is gonna go all the way.
But it was our first loss.
But it's a double elimination tournament.
True.
You know what I mean? So, like, even Gordon says, we're one loss away from elimination. And then he turns into Captain Blood, where he's working these kids way too hard, and Team USA kind of loses the magic. They're playing well, they're exhausted, but they're not losing until Kenan Thompson comes on the scene. And Kenan has been in the stands talking shit to Jesse this whole tournament. Just being obnoxious and out there and whatever. And he shows up while they're working out. He's like, let's play some real hockey. Cut to, whoop, there it is, over a street hockey montage where they're teaching all these kids, like these South Central LA kids are teaching the Team USA players the holes in their ability. Mm-hmm. And, like, fixing them and being like, no, find the love of the game. You play it because you love it, not because you're out here to win. And it's a great sequence.
Yeah, and they're kind of like teaching them, like, it's okay to be a little aggressive. Like, you don't, like, just because you, like, assert yourself, like, while you're playing, doesn't mean that you're playing dirty.
Yeah, bad guy doesn't mean bad guy. But that's where they teach Kenny Wu shirt, gloves, stick. Mm-hmm. Or, no, gloves, stick, gloves, shirt. There it is. Because you throw the stick.
Shirt, gloves, stick, yeah. No.
It's stick.
Stick, gloves.
Gloves, shirt.
There we go.
Yeah. And that comes up later in the final game against Iceland.
Yeah.
In a great way. The back half of this movie is where this movie shines.
Yeah, it's just, like, tense, because, like, you want them to win so bad, and they're trying so hard, and, like, they have, like, this fallout with Gordon because he's just being an asshole, and then cue scene with Gordon skating at sunset, and he, like, finds himself again, and he's like, you know what, I'm sorry, I've been distracted with all the sponsorship stuff, I've been a bad coach, so, like, let's start over, like, I haven't been there for you, so, like, let's go. Like,
let's do this and let's make a run at it. And then we get the final game with Iceland, and it's a back and forth game. I think the game ends up tied like 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
And we go to a shootout. Actually, we can't even talk about that because we have to talk about the goalie.
The goalie.
So Adam gets hurt in the first game against Iceland. They make a bad, like, Iceland plays shitty, and they smack him in the wrist. So his wrist is all wonky, and he hasn't been able to play. So he's been benched.
Yeah.
And then finally, he's like, dude, coach, look at this.
They bring in Kenan Thompson's character to fill in for him.
Yes.
To take over while he's benched.
Yes. And then we're about to go fight Iceland, And Adam shows up and he's like, yo, my wrist is fine. Like, I can play. And Keenan goes to take off his jersey all bummed out. Like, it was a temporary spot. I knew that. And Charlie, our boy, Charlie, is like, nah, he can have my spot. Because he's the heart of the team, but that doesn't mean he has to play. And goddamn if Charlie doesn't have the most heart on that team.
Charlie's definitely a Hufflepuff.
Oh, absolutely. And, so they proceed to play the game. And, it's getting real close. We're down to the wire here. And Gordon calls everybody in for one last Hail Mary play that's only achievable through the power of editing. Where Russ switches pads completely into goalie pads and no one notices.
Right? Like, that's a lengthy process.
That's going to take more than a timeout. And he puts Russ, like Gordon puts Russ in at goalie, and their big plan is to get possession of the puck, make room, and switch out Russ's stick from a goalie stick to like a regular stick so he can shoot the knuckle puck. Watch the movie, you'll understand what a knuckle puck is. And that's where we get Stenton going, the goalie!
Because they're all caught off guard. They have no idea they did the switch. And so they give him the puck to, score a goal. And that's what we get.
The goalie! Also, I just realized, and I'm sorry, I feel like we've done our boy Fulton a huge disservice.
In this movie?
In both of them. Because we haven't talked about it. Fulton is the enforcer of the team. He's big, and he's a body, but he also has the meanest fucking slap shot. He's, in this movie against Iceland, he slaps that in, wham! And they make a point, like the Foley work department makes a point to emphasize this slap shot when he gives it a go every single time. It's like a wham! He left the imprint of the puck. Like, he bruised the goalie's hand through his glove.
Yeah, like, I'm surprised the goalie even caught it.
Right. So, like, that's important. Because now we're going to the shootout. Because the game's tied, and this is the championship. Whoever wins this wins the Junior Goodwill Games gold medal. So they go to the shootout, and we see all of the good shooters. Adam takes a shot, Jesse takes a shot, Fulton takes a shot. I don't think Russ does. No. I think it's just those three. I think it goes back up to Adam after that.
Adam is the last one?
Yeah, Adam's the last one because Gordon has taught him the triple deke.
Mm-hmm.
Because the triple deke, no can defend.
Because Charlie won it for them in the first one with the triple deke.
Yeah, so you have to go back to the triple deke. Which again, watch the movie if you don't know what it is. I'm not going to explain it because I'll explain it poorly. But really, the hero of this movie is Julie the Cat Gaffney.
Mm-hmm. So this whole time, Goldberg has been the goalie.
He's been on a hot streak.
So they didn't want to take him out. They left him in the goal, and to put Julie in, kind of like this is her moment to shine. And girl clutches it up.
Absolutely clutches it up, because like before she goes in for this last shot against Gunnar Stahl, which is, by the way, another great name from this movie. Gordon's like, all right, this kid's fancy. He's going to go glove side. She's like, nah, what if he goes stick side? He's like, nah, he's going to go glove side. And she trusts. She trusts Gordon. She trusts the system. And it's a beautiful moment of tension because Gunnar skates in and he's like, wham, shoots it in there. And you see her move her glove and it's like, oh shit, did she get it? Did she not? Did she? And then she sneezes on this boy and just tosses the puck back at him like, nah, got you, bitch.
Like a badass.
Like an actual badass. And that's pretty much the end of it. Everybody celebrates and we get the line.
You lost it for me.
You lost it for yourself. That's between Stenton and Gunnar Stahl. Gunnar Stahl is the captain of Team Iceland. But then we get the other line where Gunnar goes and finds Charlie out on the ice because Charlie's celebrating and he just looks at him and goes, good work, Captain Duck.
And I still say that to this day.
Right. That's why I thought you were going to say it. Like, good work, Captain Duck.
Because there's a lot of iconic lines.
There really is.
So, you gotta go in sequential order. He says, you lost it for me first.
You lost it for yourself. Because even Gunner realizes that Stenton's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But that is D2.
So, definitely the best movie.
Yeah. Now we go into D3. D3 is the one I've seen the least.
Same.
But you've seen it more recently.
So, from my understanding, when I saw it way back when, was that the team, the Ducks, were going off to college. And they were, were playing, like, college hockey. So I watched it recently. And I realized they're not in college. They're at a prep school. As in, freshmen in high school. They are 14 years old, which blew my mind because, again, I thought they were way older than that. So they're 14 years old, they're going to high school. They go to, I can't remember what it's called, but it's prep school. It's irrelevant what it's called. And Gordon isn't their coach anymore. They have a new coach. Oh, man, I'm really terrible with names because I haven't seen this one that often.
I don't know that a new coach's name. I just know that he doesn't play, his team doesn't play Ducks hockey.
Yeah, he used to be a professional hockey player, and then he gave it up. And you later find out he gave it up because his daughter was in an accident, and he quit playing so that he could spend more time with her, which ends up being really sweet, blah, blah, blah. But the team is so upset because, like, he's like, you need to focus on your defense. And they've always been about their offense. And they're just, like, having a real rough time because they're junior varsity and the varsity team are all assholes. And they're just, like, harassing them the whole time. And when they do their tryouts for it, they decide that Adam is good enough to play for the varsity team. So he gets recruited and he joins the varsity team. So there's, like, this divide between them already because, like, they lost one of their own to, like, their bullies, more or less. And, their shenanigans, they pull pranks on each other. And it's all leading up to the varsity versus, like, the junior varsity, like, game. It's like, that's, like, the big thing. And, like, my memory's foggy on this because I honestly don't care for this movie too much.
Yeah, D3 is definitely skippable, I think.
Yeah. Like, it comes to a good ending to the trilogy, but, the gist of it is, so they play, I think they play varsity, did they play varsity? It's not an official game, but...
I think it's like a school event. Like, you know how, like, Powder Puff football is a thing, and, like, Peach Fuzz volleyball. I think, like, JV versus varsity, the hockey game might be, like, a school event that people look forward to. Yeah,
but, so they're playing their games, and they're just getting demolished because they haven't been listening to their coach, and their defense is horrible. So, like, the rest of the movie is, like, they finally come to terms with, like, their coach, and they realize, okay, he's not a bad guy. Like, he actually, like, knows what he's talking about. So they work on their defense, and then, they win their game against varsity, and there's all this stuff that kind of feels irrelevant. Like, there's this part where they're about to lose their scholarships, which is why they're at this prep school. And Gordon comes back and is basically being like, hey, you all signed contracts, and if you're going to, like, cancel these contracts, I'm gonna lawyer up and, like, take you out, and we're gonna settle this in court. And they basically decide, like, okay, fine, you can keep your scholarships. But yeah, like, it's an okay movie. I almost feel like that Disney tried too hard to make it, like, funny for children. But, like, they have all these, like, weird sound effects and, like dumb, like, fart joke kind of things. And it doesn't have any of the heart that the first two movies had. So, like, it honestly is skippable. Like, I think in my life, I've seen it 3 times, and one of those times was recently, just because I wanted to, like, watch it just to see if I remembered anything, which I remembered basically nothing.
The thing that sticks with me from D3 is that Hans dies?
Oh, that's right. He does die.
Yeah, and that just feels really out of left field when it comes up, because it's like, oh shit, Hans died, and everybody's like, what? And I get it. Like, the death of a loved one usually comes out of left field. But given the movie, I feel like it's kind of, like, a little shitty.
Yeah. I mean, it's also one of those things that kind of, like, bonds them together. I think that's when Gordon comes back.
Probably.
And, like, I don't really know what else to say about this movie. Like, the main thing is that it blew my mind was that they were freshmen in high school. Because I swear, I thought they were freshmen in college.
I did too, honestly. And I think that might have made more sense.
It makes more sense for them to be in college.
Yeah. So, like, something I would fix is, if I could go back and redo this trilogy, but, like, keeping same actors, same, like, time period, everything like that, I would solidify the timeline a little bit and make it more prominent.
Right, so I'd say, like, first movie, they're, like, 13, 14. Second movie, they're, like, 15, 16. And then the last one, they're 17, 18, so they're freshmen in college.
With the oldest being 19.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That makes way more sense.
Way more sense.
And, like, to an extent, I kind of understand why Disney did it that way. Because, you know, it's a family movie, and they wanted to, you know, make sure that they're still, like, the characters were young and relatable, but timeline-wise, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and, like, in the trilogy, like, of the trilogy, we grew up with these kids.
Yeah.
So, like, D3 came out way before I was ready to go off to college.
Yeah.
But that makes sense.
Yeah, and, like, the first one came out in 92, the second one in 94, and then I believe the third one was in 96 or 7. I want to say it was, like, every 2 years they released a movie.
Yeah.
So like, we were young.
And if you're going to release it every 2 years, put 2 years between your timeline.
Exactly.
So it makes a little bit of sense.
Because, like, in that time, the actors grow up. They get obviously older.
Yeah. So stop trying to keep 20-year-olds 14.
Right.
But overall, of the 3, D2 is the must-watch. The Mighty Ducks, the first one, is fun.
You can skip 3.
You can skip 3. I would say if you're going to watch them, watch 1 and 2. You can be hesitant about 3, and I won't judge you.
And I'm just warning you, it is kind of dumb at times.
It's campy and fun. I'm not saying that it's like a cinematic masterpiece by any extent of anything.
I'm talking about the third one.
Oh, the third one.
The third one is dumb.
Okay.
But the other ones are campy and fun.
They're campy and fun, like they should be.
Yeah.
So that now, last one to talk about here is the first episode of the new Mighty Ducks TV show on Disney Plus.
So, first, how did you feel about it when you heard that it was coming?
I was a little sketched out.
Yeah.
I was nervous because it's like, I don't know, man. In a world full of reboots and like just reboots and rehashes, do we need it?
No, but I don't mind it.
I don't mind it either because this is definitely it presents itself knowingly as a reboot.
Yes, it's not like a continuation like of like the other movies. Like, there are characters that overlap, at least so far that we've seen. We've only seen the first one. At the time of recording, we haven't watched the second one yet. But the gist of it is, this is present day, and the Mighty Ducks is huge.
They're the new Hawks.
Yes. So, like, from the first one, the Hawks were, like, the team in Pee Wee hockey. Now it's the Ducks, and they're, like, a huge organization. They're, like, the team to be. And, it opens up with... Oh, God, I'm terrible.
I don't remember the characters' names so far.
I'm terrible with names. But this kid, he's on the Ducks, and he just has like all the heart and soul. He wants to play so badly.
And he's not bad.
He's not bad. He's just not as good as everyone else. And he ends up getting cut because he's not good enough. And his mom, played by Lauren Graham, who I love, is very upset the way that they're handling this. Like, the hockey moms are ridiculous, and all of their kids are like, they're like treating them as if they're like Olympic athletes, which right now it's just Pee Wee hockey.
I mean,
but these are like young kids, and they have like sports psychologists and pediatric nutritionists, and they live and breathe hockey, and just like it's way overdone. And so like her whole point is like, this should just be about these kids having fun. Like, what are you doing? Like, they're little, they're not prepping them for college yet. Like, calm down. So she decides to start her own team and kind of like her and her son assemble this group of misfits to form their own team, which I believe they are District 5, right?
I think they are.
They're District 5?
Yeah, and they call themselves, like, team name is the Why Bothers? Or Don't Bothers? Whatever it is. It's a dumb name. I don't agree with this name at all.
Well, it's just because that's what the coach said.
Yeah. Like, the coach said, like, if you're not good by this point, like, why bother?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't agree with the name.
Like,
it's just a dumb name.
Like, that could change in the second one, but that's what they ended up in the first one.
Yeah.
So Emilio Estevez comes back as Gordon Bombay. He runs an ice skating rink, and he has like this whole thing is like, hello. Oh shit.
Yeah, because check it back in. We're still on a road trip. There's a big ass fire off to our right. That's wild. Okay, hope everybody's good. Might be a controlled burn, but still, it's weird to see.
It looks like it.
Sorry, continue.
Anyways, so Gordon has he runs like a hockey rink, or not a hockey rink, an ice rink, and his rules are he like repeats it from the first one. He doesn't like hockey and he doesn't like kids, which I'm confused because it's like, okay, what happened in the years between D3 and now, which makes you like revert back to the asshole that you were in the first movie?
I don't think he's an asshole in this one. I think he's hurt.
He's hurt?
I think he's hurt. I think we're going to find out that like some real shitty stuff happened with the Ducks, because the Ducks are still sponsored by Hendrix.
They are, that's right.
Because like the big compound that they practice in is like the Hendrix compound. So I think that there was some like shitty business deal that happened, and he like
cut him out.
Yeah, and they like muscled him out of his own thing.
But he ends up like letting them practice there, and I really hope he has a bigger role in it.
I think he's going to. He's going to be the coach.
Probably.
He's Coach Gordon Bombay. Like, you can't have him come back and just be the crotchety old guy who owns the rink. I guess you could, but like, are you really going to pay Emilio Estevez money to come back and just kind of be there?
Oh, can I just say that I love that in this episode, he becomes a literal cake eater.
That's good stuff.
He's like walking around eating like a birthday cake, like just like a whole ass birthday cake, and I'm like, oh, you're a cake eater. I love that.
I love it. So, I'm excited for the new Mighty Ducks show.
Yeah, because a lot of the original cast is coming back.
Yes.
As far as I've heard, Joshua Jackson isn't, nor is Goldberg.
Well, Goldberg is understandable because he's had a really hard life, and it made me very sad to find out.
Yeah, but I believe Adam, Connie, Kenny Wu,
Aberman, and I think Guy is coming back also.
Is Fulton coming back?
Fulton is coming back as well. He's the one in the picture with the braid.
Okay, so yeah, there's like a whole mess of them that are coming back, and I'm stoked. I can't wait to see them again. I really want to know like what their plans are for the rest of the show.
I think that Gordon is going to end up coaching the new team, and he's going to bring in the old team to be like, I brought them up, I can bring you up, and I think they're going to be like, yeah, this guy's legit.
Yeah.
Because even then, the new Charlie, right? I think it's safe to say he's the new Charlie.
Yeah.
Like, he fills the same role.
Like the heart of the team.
Yeah, brought everybody together. The moral compass. He even recognized Gordon Bombay, like, right away.
He's like, whoa, you're Gordon Bombay, man.
Yeah, so, like, it's not to say that the teams would be like, who the fuck are you? No, they're gonna, like, understand, at least through this kid, who Gordon is. But I think that the team is gonna come back to be, like, helpful in the coaching process or something.
I hope so.
Because I think each of them had to learn something through the trilogy that they might be able to instill in this new team. Yeah? Any last thoughts on this?
Like just this, like all the movies and stuff in general?
Yeah.
I love these movies. I really didn't have an interest in hockey before, but like watching these movies, like growing up, it made me want to watch hockey, which is not really a thing for us over here on the West Coast. But I've been to one hockey game.
Same.
It was the Ice Dogs, I think they're called. No, actually, I've been to two. One of them was the Ice Dogs. I want to say it was like Long Beach or something.
It's like an amateur game.
Yeah, and it was so much fun. Like it was like honestly some of the best times I've had at like any kind of like sporting event. And before that, I actually went and saw like the real life Mighty Ducks.
Oh, down there when it like Arrowhead Pond.
Yeah. So in elementary school, we had a field trip to the Arrowhead Pond, and we got to watch the Mighty Ducks practice. And it was the coolest thing that I think that we ever did in school. Because like we were just sitting there, and there was a couple other schools, and it was so incredible just being there, and because there was like just us like students there.
Yeah.
And to see like the real life Mighty Ducks, like the actual team practice, it was so cool.
That's a lot of fun. I've been to one game. Again, out here, at least in Arizona, there's not much exposure to hockey outside of like the Coyotes. And I've been to one of their games. I was really little, but I remember it being a whole ton of fun. And yeah, with the Mighty Ducks coming back, it's like, dude, do I want to start following hockey?
Right? It's like, I love the concept of hockey. I just don't really have a way to like watch any of it because I don't know any of the teams. And
I mean, we do have the power of the internet.
I mean, that's true, but does Arizona have a team?
Yeah, like the Coyotes.
Like, are they like professional?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know.
That's the Arizona Coyotes are an NHL team.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about hockey. Like,
that's about as much as I know. That's about as much as I know. So yeah, I think that pretty much sums us up here. Remember that if you are looking for anything to do with fun other podcasts, please go check out the Geek Elite Media Network at geekelitemedia.com. You can find them at Geek Elite Media on Twitter and facebook.com/Geek Elite Media. Also, check out the Patreon, patreon.com/Geek Elite. And other than that, always remember, this is where we say it together.
Say what?
We say Geek Out together here.
Are we done though?
I think so. Are we done?
Well,
did you have more you want to talk about?
Well, not about the movie, but like if you want to, talk about this more, you can reach me on Twitter.
Oh, duh. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. Yes, please. Where can people find you?
I am on Twitter at RickyLove, RIKKILUV.
All right. And like I said from the top, my name is Ian. You can catch me also on another Geek Elite Media podcast, Journey into Mystery. I'm over there with Mitch. You can find me on Twitter at IanFlux12 and over on Twitch at IanFlux, like twitch.tv/IanFlux. That is IANFLUX, and on Twitter, IANFLUX, the numbers 1, 2. This time is where we're going to say it.
Geek out?
Geek out. We have to say it together.
Okay.
All right, so always remember to
Geek out.
This concludes our broadcast.